Last week on Pokemon Cooked League, the Inner Beauty Bruxishs scraped by against the Jake Gambits with their Keldeo, while the goofy Genesects got the rug pulled from under them by the destructed Dragapult's Drifloon. Both these trainers are in the middle of the pack. Who will be able to separate themselves? Welcome to match 3 of week 5. We have on the player side with the goofy Genesects, and then we have the Inner Beauty Bruxishs. The first one that raising not the I want to talk about is the Porygon 2. The Porygon 2, looking at the other side has relatively fast Pokemon for the most part. Bearscoot and Swim is stupidly fast. Go Watchful's fast, Return is fast, Genesect is fast. So 4 out of the 6 months I would qualify as fast. And yet the Inner Beauty Bruxishs team is fairly slow. There's some like okay speed Pokemon. Like, the Latios is pretty fast, but everything else is mediocre speed at best. And Porygon 2 can set up Trick Room to reverse the speed order, and it's also bulky enough to take some of these super powerful hits like a choice banded rain boosted waterfall from Barrascuda, and it also has some good coverage. Like it's got Thunderbolt to actually put out decent damage against these faster, hitting harder, but realer threats. Always has to be careful about the Watchroll here. And let's see. On the other side, let's see. I see the Kartana and the Genesect. I think those are going to be powerful mons here. Just looking at the teams, there is no like easy way to do fire damage. Latios might have like mystical fire or something, but an easy way to do fire damage is kind of missing here, which is pretty scary if you're the Inner Beauty Bruxishs. And not to mention that Cortana has like knockoff for the Porygon 2, like I was saying earlier. And also it potentially might try to sneak in a knockoff against the Gliscor before the Toxic Orb goes up. But yeah, that's pretty important. Just one more thing I want to bring up. As I was saying, talking about the other mons, I just realized that Illumise is probably here to be a prankster weather changer. I hope its item is Focus Sash because I don't see it living more than like one-ish hit, so I would want to Focus Sash on this mon. I'm looking at leads. The problem with leading Illumise is that it really just depends if the goofy Genesects like have the alarm set up in their like brain. Hey, this is probably going to be sunny day, or not necessarily sunny. You're probably sunny day though on it. And maybe it doesn't set out the Politoed. We also seen on multiple occasions the Politoed be like red card. That's whatever the button the item is that when you take damage you're forced to switch out. Yeah, it has to run that item a lot, so you also be careful with that. So maybe just lead Illumise and like something that would be bad for Illumise to see, like to help pair against it. So like maybe like I don't know, like Latios or something. Hit the speed threat first, and like the Latios is like bulky. Or maybe just like Tinglu. I don't know. Just something with the Illumise, I guess. And then if you see something bad, you can always switch it out later. And then on the other side, I still think I'm okay with leading Politoed. It's just, I probably would just want to lead with Kilowatt Roll with Politoed. And then you can, like, double the Illumise. The funny thing is that if there's Weather Ball on the Politoed, you can, like, Fire type Weather Ball and do more damage, which is funny. Okay, let's get started. Okay, we are not starting with Illumise. I don't hate that we're not doing that. We're just kind of sending out like mons that are bulky enough to tank hits fairly well. Rillaboom is fairly safe against everything except exactly the Kilowatt Roll. But if it's an assault vest set, it probably eats a Hurricane fairly okay. And if you get like a big wood hammer, if you can like Oko the Polytoad somehow with like a wood hammer before, and then like the card doesn't exist and the toad is down, then you can switch the rain with Illimize whenever you get a safe pivot, or whether something else dies. You don't have to deal with the rain for the rest of the game. So you can play the mind game with, oh, I think you double one of these slots is kind of what I'm saying. Is the Polytoad going to protect, or is it going to switch? That I'm not sure of. The Polytoad could switch into something like Genesect. Seems fairly safe here. It does good against like grass type attacks. It does good against maybe like a tri-attack from Porygon 2. So I think a switch to Genesect is fairly good here. And I want this Kill-Watch roll to click Hurricane on the Rillaboom. You could also protect with Kill-Watch roll if you fear Fake Out, but we have seen a lot of choice ban Rillaboom from the Inner Beauty Bruxishs, so if you want to try to use that information against them, I also don't mind that. Hurricane is also just such higher reward here. And like, what's the worst case scenario? You get doubled, and like, I don't know, maybe you probably took like 70, maybe, or like Rage for Grassy Glide, so maybe that is bad. Oh, that is okay. Crit on the Kill-Watch roll. That's I'm pretty sure that matters. That is a big crit, and I'm very, very surprised. Well, there's a couple things that we see here that I wasn't ready for. One, that the Polytoad stayed in, and two, that the Polytoad was not the emergency button. I just don't remember what it's called. So I wonder what item this Polytoad is then. Maybe it's some type of like, maybe it's Citrus Berry. But yeah, definitely changes some things. Definitely makes the Rillaboom like really scary here. Also kind of surprised that like the Hurricane went to the Porygon 2 and not to the Rillaboom, because Rillaboom almost never runs Protect. So I felt like helping hand Hurricane the Rillaboom was just fairly safe here. And the Rillaboom is a pretty large threat once the Kill-Watch goes down. You still have answers to it, like the Genesect to offensively and defensively check it, and the Cortana, but Rillaboom's scary, man. Okay, it's leftovers. Oh no, that was no, it's not leftovers. That was just the grassy terrain. Okay, we send out the Grimmsnarl next. I don't mind this. It's in a good spot in the sense that these monsters don't immediately threaten it that much, so you can like get your screens off or like do whatever funny stuff that the Goofy Genesects want to do with it before it takes too much damage. Of course, there's always that wood hammer that still can hit really hard if you're doing goofy stuff and not just clicking Reflect here. I definitely would click Reflect before light screen the Also, side note, Porygon 2 is analytic. So like, I don't, maybe the crit didn't matter as much as I think it does. It probably still doesn't KO, but who knows? Kill-Watch roll's fairly frail. Yeah, so this is I still think you can keep both these mons in if you are the what's it called? The Inner Beauty Bruxishs. I think they're both fairly safe here. I'm probably just like starting to like double the Polytoad slot, because I think it's gonna switch. Maybe just double Grimmsnarl, because there's no way that's protecting or switching. I'm just like so like tunnel vision on killing the Toad, but maybe you don't need to at this point. I think it's gonna switch into like something a bit better here, probably the Genesect or the Katana. So if you do like Wood Hammer plus Tri-Attack maybe against the Grimmsnarl, that's gonna do a fair bit of damage. And I feel this turn will just give information of maybe potential item the Grimmsnarl has if we see a screen. Okay. Switching to Ting Lu. Ting Lu is so bulky that it can eat like weather balls or whatever stab move it can comfortably. I am just kind of surprised that we saw Icy Wind as the move of choice from the Politoed, and that it's staying in. He's refusing to switch out of this, and that's just a big shock to me. Like, what happens when the Politoed dies and he switches to Sun? Do you just, like, cry? But I didn't think he needed to switch the Rillaboom out yet. I felt like it had good offensive presence here. And I can't believe, I'm also kind of surprised that the Dreamstar just like taunted. Like, was he actually just trying to call out just like this exact, oh no, he taunted the Porygon too, that's my bad. Okay, taunting the P2 makes sense here. But this P2 does not seem to be interested in doing anything else besides whittling things down. So this King Lu is, it could probably eat like 2 Scalds, or it's just what is it gonna do back? It has Heavy Slam potentially for the Grimmsnarl. It can like Stomping Tantrum, it can Ruination. I don't know what it's gonna do. I also think is it Assault Vest? I would think it's Assault Vest taking 6% from an Icy Wind. Surely it takes a little bit more. So it's going to eat attacks fairly well. Just got to be careful about it getting chipped down over time, because then other stuff can maybe like it's supposed to live a Cortana, the grass type move, but since you took too much chip and now doesn't, and then you give the Cortana attack boost or something like that. So yeah, okay, now that I keep on seeing this Politoed not switching, I think I'm just trying to double the Politoed this turn, and like trying to get rid of it. I just does not look like he has any interest in like doing anything besides attacking, besides that's defensive with it. So I want to bully the Politoed here, just based on the pattern. I don't know if you can kill with your, depending on your moveset, but like if you have like Discharge plus like, I don't know, like a Dark type move maybe can get the KO. I'm not sure. Also depends on how much attack investment, yada yada yada. Okay, gets rid of the Grimmsnarl. I don't mind that either. Like I said, we have the Heavy Slam. The Politoed is going to be at around half over the after this turn. It's I don't think it's a terrible trade for either side. I don't think the Grimmsnarl was like winning you the game or anything. So like using it to like whittle down the Ting Lu like isn't terrible here. You know, you can set it up for like Bearskew to easily clean up in the end game, or Cortana, or like Genesect. But I don't know. I just don't think Grimmsnarl as this current concept is just kind of like a good bring in general. Okay, we see Genesect with the special attack download. I imagine he can like try to helping hand the Politoed with helping hand and like probably KO either Mon that he chooses. And because I'm assuming he has like Bug Buzz or something, because Bug type hits 3 of his Mons for super effective. So, you know, +1 plus helping hand stab Bug type move from Genesect would definitely KO Ting Lu, I would think, and it would kill P2. It's just what Mon you think is more important to KO. I think it's the Porygon 2 at this point. I think the Ting Lu is low enough. Like, you have offensive threats that can KO it, meaning Cortana and Barraskewda, where, like, taking out, I don't think is as important. But maybe I'm wrong. Um, and if you think it's a, and I think the Toon is Assault Vest, so like it's kind of like a guaranteed thing that you can do. We have seen Protect on the Porygon 2 multiple times here on multiple battles. A not common move, but definitely Protect always has value, man. And what does this P2 do? It can't, what's it called? It can't trick him because of taunt. It also can't protect because it got taunted, so that's also true. But if the Tinglu goes down, maybe that slight power decrease can make like a discharge be like just a bit, that tad bit more threatening you need it to do. To, like get probably not to KO the Politoed, but definitely not KO the Politoed. Like just put in more range for a couple more things in the future. Okay, we do get the Paralyze, and this time, and it's on the Genesect. After 3 discharges, we get 1 Paralyze. He definitely got it on the Mon that that could not afford to get paralyzed more, which is pretty big here. The Genesect now in an awkward spot where it's awkward for like on both sides because again, since the rain is still up, I don't see an easy way to take out the Genesect with the remaining Mons. But obviously lowering your speed makes it so like maybe it gets doubled by something. Maybe like a discharge plus like I don't know, maybe like a mystical fire from the Latios despite it being in rain, it is enough. Could definitely be the case here if it has mystical fire or if it can even learn it. Yeah, that's a really bad paralysis here, but bound to get one eventually. Okay, we send in Rillaboom here. The grassy terrain is gonna expire after this turn, but which is kind of annoying here. I felt like the grassy terrain was helping you more. The Porygon 2 is back up to 71 without it really doing much. And the Rillaboom I just don't think is in that good of offensive or defensive role here. You already had the P2 to take care of the Politoed. I just felt like you need to bring your best Mon against the Genesect. To be fair, there's also like Kartana, like no, because Rillaboom is still really good against Barrascuda with like a Grassy Glide being able to KO it. Like maybe you wanted to like bring out Illumise here and like try to then you KO the Politoed, maybe, or like force a Mon to like take a hit that it doesn't want to take. Like Kartana, any special attack, even if it's like resisted, is not fun to take. And especially if it's discharge, it gives a free chance for it to be paralyzed. So that would be a disaster. So like that's not a fun switch in. Barrascuda is weak to electric and also doesn't want to be paralyzed, so it's not a fun switch in either. So I felt like maybe Illumise with a Sun move with Sunny Day, I felt like could have been a good time to do that now. But hopefully it won't be a little too late for this Illumise. Probably still has some other useful things like Thunder Wave to get paralysis or something like that. But yeah, not sure about this Rillaboom. This Genesect, I mean, I don't see your spot getting better with the Genesect, so I think you just gotta keep it in here and like start doing a bit more damage before it goes. And this Politoed, it's so awkward, like I've been saying, because it dies to discharge, which is bad, but like your switches for discharge are also bad. Both players still have the Terra. Maybe they could pull something out with it. Not sure. We'll see. Don't think now's the turn. Oh, full paralysis. That's so bad. The grassy terrain is going to expire. So, Grassy Glide no longer has priority. And, you know, grass type moves don't hit as hard. And there's not chip healing every turn. This P2 is just not in a good offensive position, which is bad here. I think the Politoed has to switch out. It's either switching out or it's dying here. So I think it's a good time to double the Politoed. And I think you want to discharge plus like plus something. Probably wood hammer from the Rillaboom. I would want to if possible. I don't know if Rillaboom has any coverage that actually do good damage to Cortana, but if you had that, I would like double hit the that slot with it. Or maybe just like switch Rillaboom out, honestly. Because like it's just not, like I keep on saying, it's just not in a good spot here, I don't think. Get the Grassy Terrain up later, set up your Grassy Glide to finish off a Barraskewda at the end game. But I also don't want the switch to be scot-free though. It's the issue. Maybe if like knockoff or something, like get rid of Cortana's item would be useful. I know he does what he's like afraid of like paralyzing his own Rillaboom, but I think it's just worth the risk at this point. Just getting extra chip damage on Cortana. It also covered a Barraskewda switching better. It just does a bit more guaranteed damage. Maybe he has a way in the end game to do just like how he feels confident that he has mons that can clean it off with like Illumise or something. Just like some way to KO the Cortana and doesn't feel like he needs to do that, which could very well be the case here. I do wonder how much he's scared of Barraskewda at the end game. Maybe he doesn't need to be because he's still got Latios in the back, which will stomach a waterfall without flinching pretty well, even with like its Choice Banded, I think. I won't one KO Oko it, that's for sure. And the P2 has to worry about a knockoff here, but let's just look at the speeds again. The paralysis. So the Genesect is still faster than the P2 after paralysis, which is a big deal because if the Cortana like knock off, plus Genesect move can KO the P2 before I can get one last attack off. That's pretty big here. So this is definitely a fairly awkward turn here, where you don't want to get knocked off, but like you also want Grassy Terrain probably, but like you may just have to sack. You may have to like sack one mon or like another, maybe both, not both mons, but like at least one of these mons, and figure out like what you're okay with letting go down. Okay, the Ice Beam just KOs. That's so pathetic here. It is, what's it called? It is boosted by the Analytic, which is big here. And we did get the knockoff. I'm kind of surprised we are switching to Illumise. I think that's kind of insane. We did lose Focus Sash here. And the Porygon 2, Fairy typing, now, let's see. I don't know if there's any Steel type moves on the Genesect, but if it does, it did make itself weak to that. It makes itself a bit better against like Barraskewda with like, potential close combat or something like that. But yeah, that's just how frail this mon can be. Let's see. I don't think you, okay, so another thing. I don't think you, Sunny Day this turn. Because I think you could just, like, get the KO on something. Or do damage to something. Like, if you could find a way to double KO, which is, like, I don't know. Maybe the Illumise just doesn't have a way. I mean, the Porygon 2 plus Illumise doesn't have a way to do enough damage to the Genesect in the Politoed to get a double KO. Because these Ice Beams have not been doing much to the Genesect. So, like, maybe you just, like, save the Illumise or something. I don't know. If you have Protect on Illumise, I would feel like that's a good time to click it here. Yeah, I love protecting with Illumise here. And then, like, trying to KO something. And then force the Politoed either to switch in or switch out. Play the mind game. I'd probably go after the Politoed here, I think. I'm not scared of the Genesect right now. I feel like your rest of the mons can take care of it. And then once the rain goes down, I feel good about the spot here. Especially because the Genesect got an attack boost, not a special attack boost. And man, this is pretty rough here. I think you have to get multiple calls right in a row. Again, you still have Terra, but like you're running out of time to use it. 2 of your mons are too low for Terra to probably matter. And then Barraskewda Terra probably doesn't have much defensive value here. It's probably something offensive.
Self-destruct.
That's crazy. Okay, so that you just blew yourself up, which I think thoroughly destroyed any chances of you winning this game. You did take out the Elmise, which is nice. But now the now Rillaboom could come in, hit a Grassy Glide. Okay, we're gonna bring out Gliscor first. I think this is just like making sure. I think this is just trying to scout for like potential terrors, like weird moves that these mons could be running, which I understand. As long as your Gliscor is fast enough to kill the Politoed, I don't mind this at all. Actually, also prevents like Helping Hand crit or something crazy like that. So this is fine by me. Just make sure you actually attack the Politoed. Yeah, and this is not even banned in Barraskewda, so I don't think there's a way that the Barraskewda ever gets there to kill 4 mons. Can't even KO Politoed. Clear. What was he trying to clear Amulet? Is there an Intimidate user on this team? I don't remember. But yeah, that double's gonna do it. That was a... You know, this team was brought... I'm not really sure what to say about this match, and that's not like an insult here. I felt like the crit the Porygon 2 did very well here. Just like got so much chip over time. Didn't even like try to do anything fancy with Trick Room or Recover. Just did consistent damage over several turns. Dude, it attacked what is that? 10 times? That's a lot of attacks to throw out. The Analytic Boost did what it needed to do. And, you know, you got rid of Kill Watchful early, which is good. The Grimmsnarl I just don't think was that important of a bring here. And I'm just kind of surprised about, like, just how willing that the Goofy Genesects were left the Politoed on the field. It didn't get killed for a while, so, like, in a way, it worked out where, like, it just never died. I'm like, oh, Politoed dies, you probably just lose. But the Politoed, despite it never dying, just was barely not doing enough. You know, it was helping handing, which is nice, but just wasn't outputting enough damage for it to be impactful enough against the field. And that's going to do it for me. Congrats to the Inner Beauty Bruxishs, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.